So traditionally, the baby naming for a girl is that father. When I say traditional, I mean in my parents' and grandparents' generation. Father would go to the synagogue and be called to the Torah and have an aliyah, and then you would say a prayer of thanks and pray for the well-being of the mother and the baby, and that was pretty much it. But I think because people want to be a little bit more egalitarian now, and a bris has been a very festive and celebratory occasion, the occasion of baby naming of a girl has gotten a little bit bigger. And so we're very happy to have this party here. Thank you to my brother and sister-in-law for hosting us. And it's great to see everybody here. And now I'm going to tell you a little about... Let me see.
Hold on.
To the club.
What's that? Okay, a little bit about Yael. She was born 1 month ago today. She weighed 7 pounds, 4.5 ounces, and she was born at 8:26 a.m. And this is a little interesting fact about her. Sophia was born September 8th, 2005. 3 years, 4 months, and 26 days later, Elena was born, February 3rd, 2009. 3 years, 4 months, 25 days later, Yael was born. So almost to the day, the separation.
So,
and it's 1,241 days between Elena and Sophia, and 1,244 between Elena and Yael.
so Dave, look out for September 2015.
So keep the date 3 years, 5 months, and 25 days from now. No, I'm joking. So Yael is a biblical name. It comes from the book of Judges. And there is a story in there about a woman named Yael. The Jews were fighting against somebody. But the leader of the enemy army came to rest in the tent of Yael. And Yael took a tent peg and hammered it into him. And so there, in the book of Judges, there's a poem that's and this is supposed to be one of the most oldest parts of the Bible. I mean, if you think that it wasn't all written all at the same time. And here's the poem: Extolled above women be Yael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Extolled above women in the tent. He asked for water, she gave him milk. She brought him cream in a lordly dish. She stretched forth her hand to the nail, her right hand to the workman's hammer, and she smote Sisera. She crushed his head. She crashed through and transfixed his ankles. At her feet he curled himself, he fell, he lay still. At her feet he curled himself, he fell. And where he curled himself, let it be, there he fell. You know, and
What attracted you to that story? So it's funny. When I made a list of 10 names, and I gave them to Dave, and Dave didn't like any of them. And then, and this all happened in the same moment. So then he said, he was on the internet kind of poking around at names, and I said, you know, there was a name we considered for Elena's middle name, but it's with the J instead of the Y, but it's still Yael. And he said, wait a minute, I think there's a different spelling for that name. And he found it on the internet, and I said, yeah, I like it. And he said, yeah, I like it, and that was it.
So we like the name.
We liked the name.
And
then we liked the meaning.
And then you found the story later.
Then we found the story later, and we liked the story
the meaning.
too.
The meaning.
Story is important. So.
Yeah, when we
Strong
like
heroine,
the
you know.
The meaning of the name is the strength of God, and Yael is the 5th most popular name in Israel in 2010, and Sarah is the 8th most popular girl's name in Israel in 2010. Oh, one interesting fact, another one. We did an internal house polling, and I got the date right.
Oh, right. The date. That's right.
For both Elena and Yael.
And the other special thing about Yael is that she was born in her amniotic sac, which in the United States they often break the sac for women, so it's like 1 in 1,000 births this happens. So we thought that was kind of special also.
Okay, so anyway, you know, I went to the synagogue and I had the Aliyah, and so that was kind of the official baby naming. But I did find one prayer that when I was looking around that I really liked, and I'm going to read it in English and then I'll do the Hebrew. Keep on. The one who blessed our mothers Sarah and Rivka, Rachel and Leah, and the prophet Miriam and Abigail and Queen Esther, daughter of Abihail. May he bless this beloved girl and let her name be Yael Sarah, with good luck and in blessed hour, and may she grow up with good health, peace, and tranquility. And may her father and her mother merit to see her joy and her wedding and her children, riches and honor, and may they be vigorous and fresh, fruitful into old age, and so may this be the will, and let it be said, Amen.
Amen. Amen.
And Misha, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Miriam, Hanivia, Abigail, Esther, Hamalka, Bat Avital, Hu Yivarech et Hayilda Hane'ima Hazot, V'ikre Shema Yael Sarah Plonit, B'mazal Tov Uv'sha'a Bircha, V'yigdala B'breut Shalom B'minucha, V'yizkeh La'avia U'le'ima Lirot B'simchata U'b'chapata, B'banim Skarim Asa V'kavod Tishanim V're'anilim Yinuvu B'siva V'kach Yehi Ratzon V'nomar Amen.
Amen.
And I actually practiced that, but
you did a good job.
and so that was all I had to say. It's great everyone's here for a happy occasion. Oh, I did have one more thing to say. I am sorry. That's because it's on my back page here. Which is that Yael is named after my uncle Irving, whose Hebrew name was Yitzchak, and that is my mother's father's brother, and my mother's father's brother, my grandfather's brother, my uncle Irving, and he got married later in life, although not later than me, and he did not have any children. And he was a very well-loved uncle. He was my brother. My grandfather had 8 siblings, and he was one of his younger brothers. He lived in Bridgeport. He was very active in the synagogue. He was a treasurer for the ZOA, and you know, when I think of him, I remember that one time I had an oral history project to do, and I went to his house and I talked to him and Seal, and I talked to them at length about their memories of the Depression. And I remember afterwards playing that tape for my father, and he said that they actually did a very good job of explaining about buying on margin and you know, some of the fiscal reasons why we got into the mess in the 20s, or late 20s, 30s. Anyway, I only have very fond memories of him. I don't know if my mother wants to say anything about him.
He was a favorite uncle.
Yes.
He never had any children. And after his first wife died, he remarried about 5 years after that. Anyway, he died going to the synagogue. He was hit by a car, and he was killed. It was on Park Avenue, right across the street from Butter Shaw. And anyway, we all loved him. Renee will remember him.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And Sarah is named after Natasha's great-grandmother. That's her mother's father's mother. And I don't know too much about her. She was going to say a few words, but I don't know much about him. And so Robin and Natasha are upstairs with the baby right now. I guess she woke up.
Yeah, I guess that was a short nap.
Oh, Robin, do you want to say anything about Sarah, your grandmother?
About my grandmother Sarah?
Yeah.
Just that she was a very caring woman, and she the last thing I remember about her very clearly was when I was a teenager, she was I had two grandmothers, one who was a really good cook from Massachusetts, and then I had Sarah, who was an okay cook, and she would forget to put things in, like, for instance, we came over to her house one day just to visit, and we were probably, my sister and I were probably 16 and 18, and she said, here, have some chocolate chip cookies, and, you know, at that time she was kind of a little flaky, and we had something to drink, and we took a bite out of the cookies, and we both looked at each other. She'd forgotten the sugar, but we never said anything. So she might be a little flaky.
Like flaky with the steak.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about this combination here.
And Elena said to me the first day or two was that she intended to call this child Sarah.
Elena said.
And now sometimes she calls her Sadie, which is what we called our grandmother, Grandma Sadie. Yeah. So anyway. Thank you.
Okay.
She didn't put salt.
Okay.
Well, Mazel tov.
That was an episode of Downton Abbey.